And one thing I don't like about Christianity is that I can sit down, although I'm trying to deconstruct Christianity, I can sit down and I can admit, okay, damn, the Bible actually has some gems. I do think the Bible has some BS, but it also has some good shit in there. And at the same time, even though I say the Bible has BS, I don't really say that with a lot of confidence because I do think I just personally don't understand a lot of the things that go on in the Bible. But I know that I think there's a scripture that says whatever the enemy tries to use for your bad, God will turn around and use it for your good. And I think about how white people tried to use the Bible to enslave black people, but black people were still able to find freedom in that book. So if black people were still able to find who they really were or who they really are and the power of God in that book, then I can't sit down confidently and say it's bullshit. All I can say is I don't fully understand it. So that's why I was just thinking, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can admit that some teachings in Christianity is helpful, right? There are some scriptures that I can take on with me and help me on my human experience in my human journey. But at the same time, that's not the only way. There are other ways as well. And that's where the disconnect with Christianity, it's like, this is the way, this is the truth, this is the only way. No. Because what do you mean? The Muslims are going to hell, the Buddhists are going to hell, the Hindus are going to hell, the atheists are going to hell, and God is just going to ignore the fact that they could be potentially good people, but because they don't see God or worship Jesus, then they can go to hell. Hello, that doesn't even make sense. And then don't even get me into, I've talked about this before, into the concept of hell and like burning. I've learned, trust me, hell is insanity. It's not fire. Because if you're in the pit of hell for eternity, you're gonna get used to the fire, right? So when you get used to something, when you're in something for such a long time, you become numb to it. So if God is gonna really send you into eternal damnation, it would be something that you really, really can't get out of. And I've experienced insanity. Okay, try taking more than an eighth of shrooms, getting high, and losing your mind, bitch. I have felt insanity. I know what hell. I've lived hell, bitch, and I love to be able to say this at first. I couldn't, but then being able to say I've been to hell and came back, and I wouldn't wish that on my enemy, but I've been there. So being there, I know that hell ain't fire. Okay, because you'll get used to that shit, and I think God is just way more creative than that. So that hell thing has got out of my mind. I do think there is a hell, but I don't longer think it's the pit like fire. I don't think it's literal fire. I think it's hell is insanity. That's why I've also learned that your mind, don't take your sanity for granted and be very aware of your mind and what you put in it and what you watch and what you believe, because that holds a lot of power. But I'm not here to preach. I just wanted to let you guys know a little bit of information and how I feel about the whole deconstructing thing, because I also think that's why it's hard for me to make friends with a lot of like African people or people like Africans my age, because I just think if I were to say certain things, it looks like I'm a demon or I don't believe in God. I very much believe in God, okay? I very much know that it would be naive not to think that there's something bigger than me. I've tried the whole atheist thing and I've lasted like 10 seconds. And I think that's even generous. I think I was like, oh, I'm gonna try being atheist. And immediately a second later, I was like, absolutely not. I can't even fathom, because I don't even know how like atheists do it, but I try not to judge them because because I don't understand something doesn't make it wrong. And you know what I mean? So I've tried to be an atheist. I've thought about it. It just doesn't work for me. Deconstructing Christianity is hard enough as it is, let alone not believing in a God, not believing that there's something bigger than me. I can believe that ye are gods. I can believe that I am the creator of my reality and shit like that. But even in the midst of believing that, I still believe there is a higher source, because a lot of spiritual people, they say like higher self. And if you have a higher self, you can, what is that? You know, that's like something or a power that knows more than you know. And so to me, you can say like your higher self, the universe, God, whatever. I think God really, it's all the same. So sometimes I'll say the universe, sometimes I'll say God. It really just depends on what slips out of my mouth. But I also kind of believe that I had a thought that feels more like an it, because sometimes I'm like, God is a woman, and it would be nice to believe that God is a woman, because the feminine energy is so powerful. And when I'm in my feminine, I just feel so, I can't even describe the feeling. The feeling is undescribable, and I've only had a little taste of that. And so I was trying to decide, okay, like him, because I'm always like him and her. But then I was just having this thought where it was just like, okay, right? Because God can be that and can be that and can be that. So it's just like like it's all of it, So that's just, I don't know. I don't know too much, but I know the little that I do know and the little that I've experienced. And I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong, but this is how I feel. And if you think I'm wrong, go ahead and let me know because I'm open to learning. But yeah, it's annoying that Christians think their way is the only way. That's the moral of the story. And one last thing, I do think the Bible is powerful. I do see the Bible as a book of spells. Like I said, I don't know a lot about it, but the Bible the Bible is a spell book, but in Christian terms. And Christians might not see it that way, but the Bible is a book of spells. And I do think the Bible can fuck you up. I do think the Bible can fuck you up because at the end of the day, if the Bible wasn't as powerful as it was, a lot of people won't be reading it. And the thing is, when there's a lot of people who have spoke on how the Bible, and I've experienced crazy shit in the Bible, right? I've experienced my own things with the Bible, but when you see there's a lot of people who can swear by something and they feel it with so much power that this shit got some shit in it, then it does. So as much as I want to sit here and be like, oh, the Bible this, the Bible that shit is powerful, dude. I do think the Quran, powerful. The Hindu, whatever they believe, I think it all has power. So like, that's just a little something that I wanted to add on to this. They can all be true at the same time. Eh?